Right. So this is another video for my whole family. I might do one for my Burke family another time. Because this is like after, right? This is the first day out they've let me have since I absconded. I mean, all I wanted to say to all of them, and I suppose a lot of the people my generation of the family have got kids now, so they've got to be very responsible. I mean, having a day out for the kind of hill family of like my parents' generation is usually sort of going to a museum or an art gallery or a play. It's like, I mean, I could probably help you to like expand your horizons a bit. I mean, I'm not expecting you to do acid with me or something. And if you wanted to do acid with me, I quite happily would. Obviously, you're very unlikely to want to, and that's completely your choice. But I may be quite happy now. I mean, I had this weird voice of Auntie of the second sister in the family. Like back years ago, it must have been like 20 years ago. It was like a voice in my head. She was going, "Oh, Alex, we have been doing wonderful culture of London. Yes, Alex, yes, every day. A new delectation for our senses." So maybe she is happy. But she does live quite a closed off life with just a load of other liberal people. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being liberal. I'm liberal. But if you only ever spend your time with liberal people, then then it never sort of challenges anything you think, you know. I mean, that's a problem that my mum has a bit as well. She gets all her news from The Guardian. You can still watch GB News and read The Guardian and still tend towards preferring what you read in The Guardian and what you see on GB News, but think GB News has some valid points to make. You don't have to pick one or the other. I mean, The Guardian is kind of a bit old now. I mean, it was good paper in the 80s, but things have moved on now. It's just a load of kind of horrible media stuff like how rubbish everything on telly is, and then a load of stuff that's just sort of liberal stereotypes. I mean, but there are still good liberal papers like the Eye and the Financial Times. The Eye is probably the best paper. Um, hmm. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm not expecting you to like take. I was actually dreaming last night. I took an ecstasy, but one of the patients off the ward gave me one. It like had a bit bust off the side. I was wondering how Shrewsbury on it on this ecstasy pill. I had my shirt off for some reason, and then they were playing golf in the quarry for some reason. It was like this golf tournament in the quarry. It was the quarry turned into this like golf course. Don't know what that was all about. Oh yeah, but before that I met what's he called? Xi Jinping, the president of China. I was quite impressed when I met him. It was like I could sort of finally see why he is the president of China. don't know why I'm talking about this in a video that's for my family. But then towards the end, he didn't really look like it. I'm thinking, is it even him? He looked more like a sort of Chinese secret agent or something. But he seemed to have real, like, strength and sort of, like, I don't know what you'd call it. But anyway, this is a video for my family. I mean, that's all I've got to say to you is, like, take ecstasy with me. That's not really very good thing to, that's not really very good message. And I'm not expecting you to take ecstasy with me, but it's just sort of, we all lived this, lived, I don't anymore, this very kind of closed off life of just like, if they're going to plays and museums and maybe going to the odd restaurant, but not drinking much. And you know what I'd say to you is go to a restaurant, get hammered enough that you actually start talking to people at the other tables. And no, a meal out for like someone from the Hill family is like go to a restaurant, have a starter, a main, and a pudding. Have like one bottle of wine between three people. And then kind of, I mean, I'm not saying this to be nasty, I'm just sort of saying, like, I mean, if you're happy, then you're happy. So, like, just ignore my advice. But it's like, I had a mental health worker. I mean, I think he'd taken quite a lot of drugs when he was younger. He used to say people should take drugs when they're old, not when they're young. Because you've already done everything by then. The way people experiment with drugs when they're in their teens, before they're really formed as people is, I mean, he didn't say this, but it's quite sort of dangerous. I mean, I started smoking cannabis, me and my brother both started smoking cannabis way too young. We weren't really formed as people by then. I'm fine with it. I haven't had any kind of bad experience on cannabis for like 20 years now. But I did have full blown, cannabis induced psychosis back then. Had to stop smoking. But I mean, this isn't really aimed at my dad because I mean he's just a complete. I mean, I don't want to say which swear word because I don't completely know what they all mean swear words. But I mean, one of the really bad ones. No, I think he's made his choice, my dad. I think he's just gonna. I mean, I think all he cares about now is that it looks like he had a good life. He was a good person after he dies, kind of thing. I think he's given up on ever being happy or finding anything very much while he's still alive. He just wants it to look like he was cool once he's dead. Look like he was cool and he was a good guy once he was dead. But my mum's still savable. She just sort of. I mean, all this stuff she says about how sort of I speak a load of rubbish about my dad, and I never know whether she really thinks that because he's so blatantly like this really kind of dodgy, to put it lightly, old man. I mean, I don't know when to say this, but I had a dream where I was sort of saying to him, you chose to make your life all about sex, so now you're old, you've got to live with. Which is how I feel, really. I'd still like to save it, but no, they were both very attractive when they were younger, and they kind of made their life all about that. But then my mum never quite did. I think my mum did make quite a good quite a big effort to be a good parent at first. But anyway, I won't get into a load of stuff about the past. I mean, all I've really said about the future is so far in this video is named various drugs. I mean, cannabis would be the big one, but it's like you got to kind of Auntie Alison and Uncle Rich would probably be okay with cannabis because they do seem to like each other. Oh, I've just fucking named them, haven't I? I'll have to. Obviously, this isn't live, so I'll have to think about. I mean, I may not post it. I mean, and it's only their first names. And I suppose actually thinking about it, they're not called that surname anymore. So, so there'll be no way people to track them down. But what I'm saying about this, I think they do have, they do like each other, at least within their world. Richard seems very secure. I remember sort of like ringing him up, and then I sort of said, "How are you?" And he went, "I'm really just enjoying my retirement." And I thought, "Yeah, I mean, that's why you dead. I mean, I need drugs to enjoy, or I need cannabis to enjoy. I mean, I don't enjoy myself, but I'm never like overwhelmed by it unless I smoke cannabis." I put a film and I sort of think, yeah, that was quite good. I'd give it like 7 out of 10. But that feeling of like rushing, I only really get when I'm on drugs. I mean, to all the, I suppose I can, no, I can't name them. To the, got to be really careful not to name because I won't be able to post this there. To the children of the first son in my mum's family, on my mum's layer of the family, my uncle is the first son. To them, I sort of say, I had a dream that you and the two boys, had something even more special than what me and my brother had. Like an even closer, like intense sort of bond, which you made. I mean, it's quite telling that one of you immediately got to university and decided he was going to learn how to speak Arabic. I mean, my understanding of that would probably be, God, it's all cloudy over here. I would expect that was probably because he wanted to read the Quran, and all the other books that go with the Quran. Because otherwise, why learn Arabic? But I can completely get that. And then the other child, the other brother, I mean, the daughter was very young when I knew her, so I don't know much about her. But the other brother, apparently he's had like periods of unemployment and that. I'd really like to see you two again. Well, I could probably help you out with some like wisdom for an old wizened and cheese and man, like be very careful with drugs. I mean, you're probably both far too sensible to take drugs. So. Yeah, I'd really like to see you again. The son, I'd like to see the son and daughter. I mean, the son and daughter of the first sister don't live in this country anymore. I'd really like to see them. And the third sister, I never have much to do. I never had much to do with. But I was listening to some of her music on SoundCloud, and it was wicked. I was really impressed. I'd like to see all my cousin. Because I haven't seen you all for like 20 years. I always forget. You'll all be like in your at least 20s and more like 30s by now. I'd sort of say to any of you, be very careful. You're probably too old. You're probably past that stage. Anyway, if you were going to try that, you probably have tried it years ago. Anyway, I suppose. Be very careful with cannabis. Don't smoke it on your own. And don't smoke it on. I'm thinking on your own, alright if you're watching telly or something, but don't just smoke those candles on your own and just sit there thinking about things because your head will go all over the place. This isn't particularly directed towards you, this is directed towards anyone. It's like you gotta be careful. Don't smoke it every day. Make sure you come down off it properly before you have more. Because if you smoke it every day, it's like you forget what it's like not to be stoned, and then you just live in this. It can massively kind of improve your empathy and your creative skills and your verbal skills, and increase your kind of what's it called, processing ability. So you can kind of process what's going on around you much better. But yeah, it can send. It can send your head all over the place. So be very careful with it. You're probably all too old for that. Anyway, probably if you're gonna try that, you tried it years ago and then stop by now. Anyway, I only met the youngest son, his child. I only met him once when he was very little. He don't seem like a really sweet boy. I remember saying to my mum as we were driving home, I said, they must be pleased with how he turned out. And then my mum went, well, we were quite pleased at that age. And it's like, that was before any of this stuff happened, they sort of make out. I don't even know what they make out, but they just sort of thought I was a knob all the way through. My parents, they try and make out somehow I deserve it or something. My mum is very heavily under the sway of my dad. And all like the only advice I've really given to any of you is either to take drugs or if you wanna just go and sit somewhere is another thing. Sometimes if you just go and sit and drink a Coca-Cola outside a cafe on like a square somewhere. If you've never taken drugs, you wouldn't really need drugs. If you just go and sit like on a square, put your feet up on one of the other chairs no one's using, watch people milling around in the square like Trafalgar Square or something, except one where there's cafes around it. That can be nice. It's like, I'd have to be stoned to really enjoy it. You do all mean something to me, particularly. Also the third sister, but I never have. She was more played with my brother, but particularly the first sister of just my mum's, the next child in my mum's family, her sister. So, like, there was my mum, then another girl, and then her eldest sister. We were really close. She's moved out of the country now, it makes me feel really, she's one of the few people that I really ever built up any kind of a bond with. Her brother, I did build up a bit of a bond with, but it was more of a bond of like playing football and cricket together and that sort of thing. But she was like a big sister to me. That girl, I won't name obviously, because I won't want people like chasing her. But if she ever sees this, I really miss you. And all this stuff they say about me, it's all just a massive load of shit, Because like I said before, everyone hates me, but all for completely different reasons. You'd think if there was like a sort of standard thing everyone thinks about me, they'd stick to a coherent Lonnie Rap song, picks a slightly different, a completely different kind of angle to come at from. If you want a kind of reasonably neutral, descriptive song about me to listen to, then listen to Burn the Witch by Radiohead. But it's just. I think he did turn against me more after, but that was their big kind of statement on it. It's just a kind of neutral, descriptive song. He's not particularly taking a side in that song. He's just describing what's going on. But then there are nice ones, like sort of nice. I'm not completely sure, but I like it anyway as a song. Dark Horse by Katy Perry. I remember you telling me when I was young I could be a dark horse. That's back when the idea that I could be kind of in any way attractive at any point in my life was just some kind of mythical dream. You were like a big sister too. And now you've moved to a different country. It looks like I've seen photos of you, and I did speak to you briefly on the phone when you were at my auntie's house. Looks like you're having a good time out there. I tried to email your eldest son back later on. It's quite recently, because I sort of thought you might not want me emailing him all the time. So just recently I did try again and email him back, because he emailed me a thank you email for that present I got him. But it was some school email, and his email's completely changed now, so I could anyway. So it just said email failed to send or whatever. I could just got a message. I've done quite well, only smoked 4. I smoked this one and then go back. And then who else? The eldest son of the third child. The eldest son of my mum's, because my mum's family goes sister, 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 brother, sister, brother. The eldest child of, God, there's a little robin there. I ain't playing robin. The eldest son of the third child, the third sister. I don't know whether, because all the stuff about how I used to bully my brother that you also said, I did used to bully him a little bit. Not my brother particularly, but he's like a big high flyer now. I never like majorly bullied him. I just sort of thought he was slightly full of himself. This is when I was kind of 10 and he was 8 or something. I just thought he was slightly full of himself, just needed slightly knocking down a peg or two. I never made it. And then all this stuff, I mean, I'll just finish off the video, right? All this stuff about how he used to bully my brother. I mean, I always just felt that was something you all thought, which wasn't true when I was little. I always felt I was doing a really good job of being my brother's little big brother. I mean, I did kind of tease him, but it's like, if you've got a close relationship with someone, you do joke around, don't you? It's like some of the rest of you were so kind of not repressed, but sort of like you'd only ever be nice to each other. That sometimes you do joke around, don't you? I mean, the issue, at least to some degree, was I couldn't get him to laugh. I remember, like, even when I was about 7, he was about 3, and I was sort of teasing him, and then I was sort of saying to him, "Look, I'm only joking, man," and I was trying to sort of explain to him. I didn't know how to explain to him. I was saying, imagine if you had a little brother, you'd want him to be happy, wouldn't you? And then I actually pinned him to the floor, and I was going, "Look, do you want to cuddle?" And I was trying to cuddle him, but then he sort of squirmed out and went running to my mum and dad. And when he's teasing me, when I mean I wasn't, and the dog is just said all right to a dog, like what I say to everyone, all right. But then it wasn't his fault either. It's just like one of those things. But I really care about him, and if I fundamentally eventually realised I did bully him, then I just, completely apologise unreservedly. But there was an issue with my mum's, the second sister in my mum's family, bullying the third sister in my mum's family when they were little, wasn't there? But it's just gone completely kind of unresolved. The younger sister, third sister, seems to have just decided that the second sister's better than her. And that's crazy, not better than each other. No, I mean that needs resolving just as much. And then the second sister seems to think, yeah, sounds right, I'm better. I mean, my advice would be sort of get hammered together, but you're probably just getting a big argument, I suppose. Because it's quite a coincidence that it's those two sisters, particularly the one that used to bully the one and the one that used to get bullied by the other one, that are most obsessed with this thing about how I used to bully my brother. It's quite a coincidence. I mean, I like the third sister probably more than the first sister, who's my mum, and the second sister. She's more chilled out than either is. And if you think, like, how her children have done. One of them's this massive high flyer in London. The other one, I think, is doing kind of some sort of costume design for plays or something. Me and my brother are kind of drug addicts. The second sister's children have all fled the country. But anyway, but never smoke cigarettes or cigars. Well, I suppose none of you would be silly enough to do that. Smoke weed in bongs, never smoke it in spliffs because it starts you smoke it. Just like you can make a bong out of a plastic bottle and then you put then you make a hole in the plastic bottle, poke an old biro in the hole with all the middle of the biro took out all the uh like pen bit, the ink bit taken out, and then slide that in the hole, and then put tinfoil over the top of the bottle. You have to burn all, and I'm made of bonkers. You have to burn all the toxins out of the tinfoil by just holding a lighter against it for ages, or you're smoking that the first time you smoke. And then you dab little holes in the tinfoil you dab little holes in the tinfoil with a pin. I used to be wicked at that. I got pretty expert at it. And then you put your weed in and then smoke it through the. I made a bomb. That's what I was like when I was younger. I made a bomb. I made this water bomb. And it's like this wicked water bottle, and I named it the Bong Master 4000. But then I never told anyone I named it the Bong Master 4000 because I was too nervous. I'd just say it. Now I'd do a drawing of like Bong Master 4000 and I'll like paint on the side of it the Bong Master 4000. But that's all what people think. That's why people should take drugs when they're young. That's why they should take them when they're old. But anyway, I'm aware. Like, I'll maybe make another video on something. I'm aware most of my advice for you in this video has been kind of take drugs. But if you all, like, I can imagine someone like Uncle Alistair being quite happy anyway. But it's just this, and probably he lives a bit less of a sheltered. Is his name? His name's Haley, isn't he? Could they track him down from that? Oh, blinking! Could they track him down? I'll have to think about. And he lives a bit a bit less of a sheltered life because of his job. I better not say anything else about it. But like I said, if you only ever communicate with other liberal people, then your views are never challenged. So you just sort of hang on a minute. This conversation's going in a bit of a right wing direction, and you don't think. Right wing and left wing doesn't really mean anything anymore. Maybe it did in kind of like the 80s, but these days it's just sort of. They don't mean anything anyway, do they? It's like every particular issue has a certain position on the right wing, left wing scale. When it doesn't make any sense, and you have to choose one end of the. Carefully. Oh, sorry, sorry. Um, Anyway, I'll leave it there with a philosophical point of view. Well, you can be very right wing on one issue, but then very left wing on another issue. But it's like sometimes people, particularly people like Auntie Alison, will sort of think like, "Oh, this conversation's heading in a bit of a right wing direction," and now they'll just cut you off, whereas like sometimes you got to actually think, hang on a minute, what's this person actually say? And look for kind of, what's the word? Like, life's about bringing people together, isn't it? If you just shut people, if you just tell someone to bigger and shut them off, then you're just going to drive them further into it. You've got to find a way of saying it to them that kind of, look, brings people, kind of takes people with you. But anyway, I'll leave it there because I think I'm all the way back to the ward now. I better look at the time.